this lesson, you'll learn how to play It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas using two beautiful fingerpicking patterns. And for those of you who prefer strumming over fingerpicking, we'll also look at an easy way to strum the song as well. I'll be using my tenor with low G tuning throughout this lesson. However, you can also follow along with high G tuning. When we take a close look at our fingerpicking patterns, I'll demonstrate how they sound with both low and high G tuning. Now let's begin by looking at our patterns. Here's pattern 1, played slowly on an A chord. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and at a faster tempo. 1, 2, 1, 2. To play this pattern, we'll pick the 4th string with our thumb, then the 3rd string with our index finger, and then strings 1 and 2 together with our ring and middle fingers. Here's how pattern 1 sounds with high G tuning. And at a faster tempo, 1, 2, 1, 2. Here's pattern 2 at a slow tempo, still on an A chord. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and at a faster tempo, 1, 2, 3, 4. To pick this pattern, we'll use our thumb, index finger, middle finger, and ring finger on strings 4 down to 1. We'll start by picking strings 4, 3, and 2. Then we go back to the 4th string, down to the 1st string, back up to the 4th string, and we finish on the 3rd string. Here's how pattern 2 sounds with high G tuning. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and at a faster tempo, 1, 2, 3, 4. Next, we'll look at how to apply the fingerpicking patterns to the song and how to form the chord shapes. Throughout the song, the chords that appear in standard font are held for 2 beats, and we'll play pattern 1. The chords that appear in bold are held for 4 beats, and here we'll play pattern 2. So we'll start on line 1 with our D chord using pattern 1. For D, we have our index, middle, and ring fingers covering the 2nd fret of strings 4, 3, and 2. Then we go to our G chord, still in pattern 1. For G, we have our index and middle fingers covering the 2nd fret of strings 3 and 1, and our ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. Then we go back to D to complete line 1, and here we're changing to pattern 2 because this chord appears in bold. In line 2, we'll stay on our D chord, playing pattern 1, then pattern 1 on F sharp. Now for F sharp, we're going to bar the 1st fret across all 4 strings, and we'll add our middle finger to the 2nd fret of the 2nd string and our ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 4th string. Then we go to our G chord, playing pattern 2. So let's count the rhythm of lines 1 and 2 at a slow tempo. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. In line 3, we go to an E minor chord with pattern 1. Here we're covering the 2nd fret of the 1st string with our index finger, 3rd fret of the 2nd string with our middle finger, and 4th fret of the 3rd string with our ring finger. And next we have A7, which is an easier chord. We have our index finger on the 1st fret of the 3rd string. Then we go back to our D chord. And we finish line 3 on a B minor chord with pattern 1. Here we have our index finger barring all 4 strings on the 2nd fret and our ring finger on the 4th fret of the 4th string. In line 4, we start with an A chord on pattern 1. For A, we have our index finger on the 1st fret of the 3rd string and our middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. And next we have E7. Here we have our index finger on the 1st fret of the 4th string and our middle and ring fingers on the 2nd fret of strings 3 and 1. And then we finish verse 1 with our A7 chord on pattern 2. Let's count the rhythm of lines 3 and 4 at a slow tempo. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now moving from this A7 chord into our D chord that begins the 2nd verse, you can either use the same D chord shape that we used earlier, using your index, middle, and ring fingers, or you may find it easier moving from A7 into D using your middle finger, ring finger, and pinky. One more thing to mention on these first 4 lines is that there is an alternate chord shape for E minor. So after we play pattern 2 on our G chord, a different option for E minor is to keep our G chord shape and place down our pinky on the 4th fret of the 3rd string. And then we'll play pattern 1 moving into line 3. So you can try this chord shape for E minor and see if you prefer it to our standard E minor shape. The 2nd verse is played the same way as verse 1 for the first 3 lines. And when we get to line 4, instead of playing A, E7, and A7 like we did in verse 1, here we're going to play E minor, A, and then we'll finish on D with pattern 2. Verses 3 and 4 are played the same way as verses 1 and 2. And when we get to verse 5, we have 5 lines to finish the song. Lines 1, 2, and 3 are played the same way as the previous verses, but line 4 is a bit different. Here we're going to start on our E minor chord, then we'll go to A, and now we're going to play pattern 2 on our F sharp chord. And then in the 5th line, we're going to go back to E minor, then to A, and for our final D chord, I like to pick all 4 strings. If you're enjoying this lesson, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let me know what other songs you'd like to learn, and please show my channel some love by giving it a thumbs up. If you'd like to download my song sheets, fingerstyle arrangements, or song books, you'll find them all on Patreon, including all of the holiday and Christmas songs that I've covered. The link is down below in the video description. Let's take a look at the bridge that comes between the 2nd and 3rd verses. For all of the chords that are underlined, we're going to pick strings 1, 2, and 3 together. Now we do have some rather quick chord changes in the bridge, so by not using the 4th string, this makes our chord shapes and chord transitions a bit easier. We're starting on an F sharp chord. Now rather than playing this as a bar chord that we did in the verses, here because we're not playing the 4th string, we're going to form our G chord shape and move it back 1 fret. So we're covering frets 1, 2, and 1 on strings 1, 2, and 3. So in line 1, we're going to pick all 3 strings 4 times, and each chord is held for 1 beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. We begin line 2 on a B minor chord, and again here, instead of playing this as a bar chord, because we're not using the 4th string here, we're going to use our middle finger, ring finger, and pinky to cover the 2nd fret of strings 3, 2, and 1. Then we'll go back to our F sharp chord, and then back to B minor. Now the first 2 chords in this line are held for 1 beat each, and then the last B minor chord is held for 2 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. In line 3, we're going to an E chord. Here we have our index finger on the 2nd fret of the 1st string and our middle and ring fingers on the 4th fret of strings 3 and 2. And just like in line 1, we're going to pick this chord 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then in line 4, we're going to an A chord. And since we're not playing the 4th string, this chord shape is going to be the same as our A7 chord. Then for E7, we're going to place down our middle and ring fingers on the 2nd fret of strings 3 and 1. And then we'll finish this line on an A7 chord. Now the rhythm of these chords is the same as in line 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. In line 5, we'll go back to patterns 1 and 2 on our A chord. So first we'll play pattern 1, and pattern 1 again, and then we'll finish on pattern 2. If you'd like to strum the song, then the chord shapes will be the same as what we used in the fingerpicking version for the verses. However, the chords in the bridge will be a bit different. So let's take a look now at an easy strumming version. If you prefer to strum the song, then for all of the chords that appear in standard font, you'll play 2 down strums. And for the chords that appear in bold, you'll play 4 down strums. So for the verses, we're going to use all of the same chord shapes that we used in our fingerpicking version. So as an example, here's how it sounds to count the first 2 lines of verse 1 at a slow tempo. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. For the bridge, we'll play 1 down strum on each chord that is underlined. So here we're going to form our full chord shapes covering all 4 strings. You might actually find it easier to pick strings 1, 2, and 3 as we did in our fingerpicking version because the chord shapes are a bit easier as we're not using our 4th string. Now I do want to highlight the chord shape for our E chord. In our fingerpicking version, we used our index, ring, and middle fingers to cover strings 1, 2, and 3. If you want to strum this chord, then you're going to cover all 4 strings, keeping your index finger on the 2nd fret of the 1st string, and then using your middle finger, ring finger, and pinky to cover the 4th fret of strings 4, 3, and 2. In lines 1 through 4, we'll play 1 down strum on each chord. And then in line 5, we're staying on our A chord for the entire line. And here we're going back to the same chord notation that we used in the verses. So 2 down strums on the first 2 chords and 4 down strums on the last chord. Next we're moving into our play along, where you can play and sing the entire song along with me. I'm going to use the fingerpicking patterns for most of the song, but I will strum part of the song as well. So feel free to choose between strumming or the fingerpicking patterns, whichever you prefer. 5, 6, 7, 8. heaven tin. It's glistening once again with candy canes and silver lanes that glow. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Toys in every store, but the prettiest sight to see is the holly that will be on your own front door. A pair of hop-along boots and a pistol that shoots is a wish of Barney and Ben. Dolls that will talk and will go for a walk is the hope of Janice and Jen. And Mom and Dad can hardly wait for school to start again. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Everywhere you go, there's a tree in the Grand Hotel, one in the park as well. It's the sturdy kind that doesn't mind the snow. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Soon the bells will start, and the thing that'll make them ring is the carol that you sing right within your heart. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Toys in every store, but the prettiest sight to see is the holly that will be on your own front door. Sure, it's Christmas once more. For more of my Christmas song tutorials and fingerstyle arrangements, see this playlist here. Have fun practicing, and happy holidays!